Welcome back to TJ Walker Interactive. It's a war of wills between the Democrats and the Republicans, and it may lead to a government shutdown. TJ, what are the communication techniques that both the Republicans and the Democrats can use to come to some sort of resolution? If not, government may shut down on March 4th.
Well, there's a big question of whether they want to come together, because there is a faction in each party who believes that they are better off if there is a government shutdown. So the question is really, how is this message received by the public? Now, a lot of people look back to the example of when Newt Gingrich was Speaker in '95 and this happened, and the consensus is that really hurt the Republican Party, and it showed that the Republicans lacked seriousness. Plus, stories came out that Gingrich did this in part because he felt personally snubbed by Bill Clinton not allowing him to ride back in the front of a plane from a foreign trip. So the whole thing made Gingrich look petty. To this day, he remains one of the most unpopular figures in American politics, in part because of that. Now, a lot of observers say, you know what, that was so long ago, times have changed. Americans are very frustrated by the size of the deficit and the debt, and they really would like members of Congress to show some spine and say, no more spending. So there is a school of thought that says Republicans will actually gain in the eyes of the public if the government is shut down. They will finally earn credibility for being seen as, sending a strong message of we don't want to waste any more money. Here's the problem with that scenario. If you look at American polls of Americans, yes, they will all say, let's cut government waste, let's cut government spending. But as the Pew organization showed just last week, when you ask people individually, do you want to spend more or less on education? Majority of voters say more on education, more or less on fighting crime, more on fighting crime, more or less on environmental protection. They want more. The only thing people want to spend less on, foreign aid, something that is substantially less than 1% of the budget. So here's the problem. Once government shuts down, then people don't get Social Security checks. Then people can't get basic services. Then they can't go to federal parks. And they are surrounded every single day, every single minute of the day, by examples of what is no longer working. I think this is going to damage both parties, but especially the party that is seen as more obstinate on this. So I do not think that people actually want government shut down. Now, if people really did want significantly less government on a regular basis, there is nothing stopping them from voting for the Libertarian Party on a regular basis. But the Libertarian Party routinely never gets more than a couple of percentage points. I think that gives you an accurate reading of how many people truly want less government. So there are now some factions of Washington say this is the best thing that could ever happen to the Democratic Party. It will so sully the Republican leadership, because after all, they're new in power. Americans are trying to decide whether they really like this change. And many Democratic strategists believe that if, in fact, there is a shutdown, the same thing will happen as last time when Gingrich is in power. Republicans will be seen in the eyes of independent voters, moderate voters, as not serious, not able to govern, not able to run government. I mean, that's what you're doing when you become Speaker of the House. You are running government. So if you're shutting it down, at some level, it does seem like an abdication of responsibility. We'll see. This situation is very fluid. What do you think? I would love to hear from you. Who is going to benefit more? Who's going to lose more politically in terms of how these messages are filtered out through the voters? We'd like to hear from you. I'm TJ Walker.